Bum. Big shout out to Mr. David B for that intro music that we love to jam out to every single Sunday. Oh my gosh, y'all. Happy Sunday. Welcome back, y'all. It's your girl, Danny Joy here, hanging out on the Call to Action Network on Chill to Action Sunday. Thank you so much, y'all, for joining in. It's me, your girl, hanging out, as always, with my favorite co-host right over there, Mr. Paul Denis. Yo.
There may be a day where we don't dance to the David B. Chill song as we're entering into the show, but it is not this day.
It is not.
It is not this day. I'm doing great, man. It's been a hell of a week for everybody else. It's damn sure. But it ended on a more higher note than it definitely began. So there is that. It's time to lay back now, chill, and get ready for what's going to come up next. It's fun. It's going to be fun. That's why we're here to have fun tonight. So without further ado, before we could start talking for hours, but we won't because we got a guest here. We got a guest that's been someone we've actually talked to on a couple occasions, but never quite sealed the deal. But this time we sealed the deal. He is
my
here.
My favorite meme king. 100%.
New panelist, as you were. It is Mr. Ben Goddard, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, it's Sunday. We're chilling.
I know I got a whole different background. I'm back home at my parents' house right now, so that's why I have this like professional office business background today.
It's a good look for the Mr. Ben Goddard.
Thank you.
You need the dog there though. Like,
oh god, he's out there being spoiled right now. He's in front of the fireplace. He's not going anywhere.
This looks a little more perfect, like almost Benjamin Goddard in a way.
Yes. This is William Goddard. That's my first name. William Goddard here tonight.
We have William Goddard here with us, everyone. Ben, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this Sunday evening. You usually do Sunday morning coffees. You get to come out and hang with Sunday Night Chill. It's
right.
Fun.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, we've been waiting for this episode for quite some time. Very, very much anticipated to have you on here. So, Ben, again, thank you. First question that we always like to ask every single person whenever they come on here is like, why Schmo? This is definitely a question that I want to ask you. Is like, why Schmodown? Like, how did you get involved with the Schmodown? Like, what got you started into it?
What like got me into it as a fan or like working for it?
You know what? Let's hear both of those stories.
Well, I was a big movie fights person. So I would always watch Dan on movie fights. And then so when he went over to play that first match against Campia, I had to go watch it. And I'll admit, I was the guy. I was one of those people that am I echoing? Is that me?
Yeah, there's an echo. I'm not sure where it was coming from.
I don't hear it. It could possibly be me then.
Okay. I was one of those people that fast forwarded the storylines, guys. I didn't like the storylines because I'm not a wrestling fan. So I went straight to the movie trivia because that's what I wanted to see, and I loved it. I thought all the production value was awesome. I thought the competitors were amazing. So I'd see the intros and like the promos and stuff, but all like the storylines I'd skip. And then so I remember I could never go to a live show because I was always working. It was always on Saturday night, like even when it was literally across the street from where I worked, the El Portal Theater. I worked at that bar you guys all went to right after. Like like I no longer work there, so I'm okay with saying where I worked. So I would see everybody, and that night I got to. I remember I was the only one in the back bar when you guys came in because someone called out. And I just got like what you guys did in Houston, like you assaulted that. That's how I felt that night. Plus, we had our normal Saturday night, like, because we have a nightclub going on. So we get busy normally and then add, 500 plus people ready to drink and tear down the house. But it was a place where Emma Fyffe and Cameron Rice and Hector Navarro, they would do I think it was their Hyper RPG show or something like that on Wednesday nights. And they would come in afterwards. So I knew who they were. So eventually, they became my regulars and we got to talking. And one day I was just like, hey, Emma, like, this is what I want to do. How'd you get into this space? And we talked a lot. Me, Emma, and Cameron got to talking a lot about that. And then one day, like a week later, I just tweeted. I tweeted at Emma. I was like, hey, Emma, send me a DM whenever you have a second. And she did. I did not expect, because Emma didn't follow me, so I couldn't DM her. And I was like, hey, I'm not looking for payment, but if you guys ever need help behind the scenes of Showdown, like whatever you guys need, like let me know. And that Saturday, she invited me to the set, and I helped her out with all the Patreon stuff, got to watch a few matches, and then that was last summer. And then Christian invited me to be part of SCN Network, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that right there just kind of makes me want to stem off into like 5 different questions about bartending, about Showdown, about movies, about your content space, and all of that stuff. So I think where I'm going to go into it from that is like your movie attitude towards it. So like you're from Texas, transplant into California and all of that good stuff. Did you move into California with the with the what's the word? I have trouble with words. Anyways, like, did you move to California with the idea or the thought of going into the industry? Was that something that you were
no. Like I did drama in high school, and I really liked acting. And then I was going to go to Long Beach to play water polo. And then the coach ended up going to coach the Olympic team. So all his people that he was interested in, the coach coming in, he had his own list of guys, and I'm not 6'5" and European. So I wasn't on that list. So he literally told me, he's like, hey, you can come, like I got accepted into the school, and he was like, you can come down and work out for the team if you want, but there's no guarantee that you're going to make it. And at the time I was like, I don't know if I want to spend my whole summer doing that for something that I didn't know I was going to make. And I do kind of regret not going to Long Beach, but I love, so I went to Fresno State. It was kind of like my fallback school. And a lot of my friends went there, and I had a great time. And literally a week after graduation, a friend of a friend that I met her one time at a graduation party said, hey, I'm going to LA to look for work. I was like, I'll go with you and help pay for gas. And then 2 weeks later, I moved to LA. So and then honestly, it was watching movie fights and watching Screen Junkies and Collider and Schmoes that I was like, I think I could do this. And I always say how jealous I am of people like RB3, who he's 22 now, 23. And he's so far ahead. He's so far ahead of everyone with everything he's doing. Not like obviously with what he wants to do with directing and everything, but just having his foot and basically his whole like upper body in the door with everything he's doing. So if I would have had that, or even just like moved out to LA, let alone doing that in college, if I would have known why I was moving to LA, because I went on auditions. I tried to be an actor for a second, and there's like a short film. There's a short film somewhere out there on YouTube where I played bad actor, and I'm way too good at being a bad actor. So,
Jake will find it. Jake will definitely find that now.
I sent me the link on
that I didn't.
I need to post that because it's hilarious.
I look, what I do before these episodes is I go into a good amount of research and searching for it, and I'm extremely upset that I did not already have this.
So we're gonna find it.
I searched for it. He sent me a link, and I don't have my Facebook Messenger on this laptop, but I'll post it for sure. At least like clip out my tiny part. But yeah, and so I do like. It would have been nice to know, but like I just kind of woke up one day and was like, "This is what I want to do." And then I started a YouTube channel like 5 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. And that's why, like, there was definitely like some moments where I doubted myself and. But I'm so glad I stayed the course, and because you never know when someone's literally just going to walk into your bar or a place where you work at and completely change your life. And that's what Emma did for me. And then Christian took a chance on me as well. So.
Right. That's good. That's great, man. We got to have some super chats in here real quick. I'm going to throw them in there. Brandon Buckingham. This isn't Goddard. It's Imposter. What the hell? John Lestrina, hashtag Ladies Night. Yeah, Ben really bringing some class to the show as opposed to PLD. All right.
Ladies Night. What about me?
I'm continuing my costume from Knives Out. I was really feeling the Chris Evans look from Knives Out and the whole like East Coast leather bound books.
Get it.
And then Andres got like, Gallego, I love you, brother. Hey guys, love you folks. Ben, work's killing me lately. Sorry I haven't been on Twitch on time, but keep doing what you're doing. I love your stuff.
I appreciate it, Andres. No worries at all, man. I know everyone's getting pulled in 100 different directions, like personally, professionally. So anytime anyone can stop by, I'm always grateful, but I never hold it against like, oh, where have you been? Right. No, let alone that there's literally everyone and their mother is streaming right now. Like so far that capture cards are sold out, webcams are sold out, like everything is sold out. So I get it. I truly get it.
Yeah, I didn't get a Stitch until earlier, until maybe like a month ago. So
Eric?
What's your hometown, Eric? Because like all those valley towns like Fresno, Visalia, Tulare, Hanford, like all the. That's why I hate Bay Area teams, because everyone from around there is a big Bay Area fan. Giants, Niners. You're from Tulare? Nice, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. So all this. That's why we always thought in the Central Valley that the show, the OC, they watch a show called The Valley. So this is the Central Valley. We thought they were watching us like they were watching them, but it turns out they're obviously watching like San Fernando Valley, like North Hollywood, where I live now. So I literally moved from one valley to another.
Nice.
Were you there? Were you in California around the time that they were filming the OC and stuff like that?
In California, yeah, not in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only connection that I have to that is someone who I work with in my corporate job actually did the hair for Lauren Conrad in one of those episodes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did work at Saddle Ranch right after they shot the show. I moved to LA and the Saddle Ranch reality show was only one season long because it was terrible. But a lot of the people I worked with were on the reality show, and everyone would ask me, "Oh, were you on the show?" No, I was not. I would not be dramatic enough to be on that show.
Ben, I'm sorry. I've watched your Twitch streams. I think you would be just as dramatic.
But like, that show. It was funny. A girl I know that I worked with literally got fired from the show for not being dramatic enough.
I believe it.
Because they would ask her back, "Oh, like, what'd you think about so and so doing this?" Like, it was fine. I don't know. And then they'd be like,
right
"No,
there.
okay. Does that make you mad?" She's like, No, not at all.
See,
I try not to be Brandy. I try not to be.
Real quick, I want to throw a Streamlab in from Jared Simpson Jagger. Ben is sus. Vote him out.
It's true. Very true. Yeah, we got to get you guys on to play some Among Us some nights, because those are wild nights where you spend your whole night screaming at your friends, and then you're like, "All right, guys, have a good night."
Okay, love you. Good night. That's how Paul and I end every Sunday nights.
Yeah.
Ben, you've been doing stuff online for quite some time now. It's great to see your content. You're very consistent in your content and all of that stuff. It's interesting to see what everyone has done transitioning into these COVID times and stuff. Was this something that you wanted to go into, like creating content in like on Twitch, on your YouTube channel? I know that you did have a show previously before a lot of people kind of really were well known for a lot of your Sunday coffees and being on SEN and your Twitch channel and stuff like that. So I know that you've been a presence on the internet for quite some time now, but like, is that something that you genuinely, I was about to ask you genuinely enjoy doing it, but like if you're fucking doing it all the time, It's got to be something that you have to somewhat enjoy. So to kind of go away from that, but like movies, are movies something that you have always been into, like just as a person in general, like outside of Showdown, outside of doing content, like how did you get involved with like movies and creating content for movies?
When I started my YouTube channel, like I said, I loved watching movie fights and I really wanted to do something in that area, but you could throw a stone on YouTube and, find 10,000 movie reviewers on there. So I didn't know, but my life is too boring for me to be a vlogger. Like I did, you can go back and watch those. They're so painfully cringy vlogs, but we would watch them on Twitch every once in a while, and they're so bad, and they're so great.
So good.
They're so bad. It's so funny. But I was just like, I just don't. You watch vloggers like Casey Neistat, who's getting flown all over for like Dubai, and like he's like an actual like filmmaker. So that's why you want to watch him. And so when I started doing movie reviews, I just really enjoyed talking about them. Like I never took myself too seriously or at, like, oh, like this is the word on the street. Like this is what I believe in. But it was just like, oh, I enjoyed this movie. I had fun with it. I like this, and this, and I didn't like that. And even when I tried not to be too negative. Like there are movies that I've definitely torn apart on YouTube. But other than that, I'm just like, you know what? Like people worked on this and they tried, and maybe it just didn't click for me, but hopefully it clicks for someone. And even when I, movies like Rogue One, I'm just
Gareth
like, if
Edwards
you like
has a family. Gareth Edwards has a family, Ben.
He does. But even especially movies like that where I'm like, you can enjoy it. I'm jealous. Like I would say that in a lot of my reviews, like if you enjoy that, I'm jealous. I never want to go into a movie. I've never gone into a movie saying, oh, I want to hate this. Like I wanted to like Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman and all those movies. Like those are some of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Like I grew up watching Justice League Unlimited on Cartoon Network and stuff. And I still watch them. I grew up with them. I'm still watching them to this day. So I just always tried to keep that positive mindset towards, movies and just like reviewing things. But when it comes to what I wanted to use my YouTube channel as more of like a resume. It's like, I can do this. I can host shows. I can, be a professional face for something to get on a Collider or a Screen Junkies or now, SEN. And I think that it did help because you watch those some early. I'm like, it's good, and then there's this, and so I think it has helped just doing that. Even though at the beginning it would take me 2 hours to edit a video, and I'm paying out of my own pocket. Thank God for Movie Pass and AMC A-List because that's saved me probably at least $5,000 all in all because I'd go see 3-4 movies in a weekend. And I'm paying out of pocket for everything. Yeah. So it was saving me a lot of money, but that's how much I love doing it, is that I would literally go and pay even for movies that I had no interest in seeing. Like I remember watching the last Resident Evil movie and I was like, I bought an $11 ticket for this. Like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, Ben, to be fair, like I bought Mulan hoping to do a review for it on YouTube. Never did it. So
yeah,
at least you're doing that, my dude.
I waited till I was at my parents and they bought it for me.
You gotta figure out a way.
There you go. So before
what do we want to watch tonight? I mean, Mulan is here. I guess we could pay the $30 VOD if you guys want. I mean, I don't know.
We're all here.
We're all here.
Gone to the movies.
Family movie night.
Anyway. So yes.
Yeah, super chat from Ben Rayner real quick there. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Goddard, with your knowledge and guessing experience with alcohol, do you have a favorite drink?
Do you? That's a good question. I do want to know that.
Favorite drink. Lately, I've been really into coffee drinks. So especially since going to Disneyland as an annual pass holder and stuff like that. Carthay Circle, it's opening up in 2 weeks. I'm really excited to go. But when it's cold, an Irish coffee, and then when it's hot, an espresso martini. And I still am a little self-conscious of ordering espresso martinis because they sound so hoity-toity, aristocrat. And so other times I'll just be like, oh man, I'll just get like a vodka soda or something like that, or a margarita, or like a tequila on the rocks. But I feel like I do get side-eyed by some of these servers that like espresso martini. Really, guy, you're at Applebee's, so you can relax right now.
Ben, okay, so I have to ask you this, like especially as a bartender, also coming from that bartender life, I've always worked in a very fast-paced environment, so either a restaurant bar or a dive bar that has these like sprint hours at the end of the night and stuff like that. So anytime that I've ever had anyone like ask me for an old fashioned, I'm always giving them like this, like, are you fucking serious sort of vibe, because it's this weird balance between it. Like if you know enough about liquor to want an old fashioned and to trust me, a bartender, if it's someone who a customer who comes to me most of the time, they ask for an old fashioned, fine, I'd totally do it. But if it's someone who I've never seen throughout this entire week and you're gonna ask me for an old fashioned when it's fucking busy as shit in the bar right now, I'm gonna look at you a little funny. So anytime someone asks me for an old fashioned, I've always found that drink specifically to be a pretentious drink for people to ask, but it's also the drink that most bartenders ask for. So
for me, it's more about like, it's one thing if you're going to ask it when, I'm 4 deep at a bar, but don't comment on how I'm making it. Like, because, especially like old fashions and like Bloody Marys and stuff like that, everybody has their own way to do it. Like I remember,
you put pickle juice in your Bloody Marys.
Yes, I do.
Love you.
But I remember I brought an old fashioned to this guy and he took a sip and he's like, "Oh, this is strong. How much Sprite did you put in this?"
Excuse me, sir?
I was like, what? And it took me a second. I was like, what? He's like, how much Sprite did you put in this? I was like, none.
None.
He's like, okay, can you go put some Sprite in? I was like, if you insist. Like, I wasn't mad about it, and he wasn't rude about it, but just like it wasn't like, hey, can you put some Sprite? I was like, oh, you didn't put enough Sprite. I'm like, I didn't put any Sprite in this old fashioned. What are you talking about?
I have never heard of Sprite in an old fashioned. My God,
me neither.
I'll never forget. This might have been like maybe like 2010, maybe the first time I had ever heard anyone ask for a panty dropper shot.
That's the thing too, is that it's one thing if you're going to order a mojito or an old fashioned or, like a pomegranate martini with sugar on the rim while I'm busy. But if you order a Vegas bomb or a panty dropper or a whatever, and you expect, or like, hey, I got this shot at this one bar, and it's like, I don't care. Who's next? Like, done. Or if you ask me to surprise you while I'm busy, you're getting a shot of well gin, and I'm charging you for Hendrix, and you can get that out.
You. That's a total fuck you. Like, you're gonna get a total like just tray shot from that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That sounds so sweet, Brandy. Oh, no thanks.
Ew.
Oh my gosh. Truly. But like other people said, I think it depends on the environment that you're in. If you're in a random dive bar that's super busy, an old fashioned isn't necessary. Me personally, I just feel like an old fashioned is something that you put love into, because that's a drink that I genuinely put love into, because that's a drinker's drink. And if you're like, I know that it's a term that just kind of gets flown away. And so Ben, also as a bartender, do you feel jaded in any sort of way? Because I know there's a lot of talk about bartenders are fucking assholes. And it's mostly because we have to deal with a bunch of bullshit throughout the week. So a lot of us just kind of like, all right, is this actually what you want? Like, what else do you want? Don't ask me for another shot after you've asked me 3 different shots after I've made you things already. So it's this weird sort of asshole sense that you get into as a bartender. Do you feel like any of that translates into your movie watching experience? Do you have any sort of bitter experience watching a movie as a critic? Because you do a lot of criticism on your YouTube for movies and stuff like that. Has any of that changed your movie, especially as the Showdown player? Has any of that changed your movie watching experience?
Well, one, when anybody goes into a bar and says, "Can I get a beer?" like in movies, that means they couldn't get an actual beer sponsorship. Which, I'll take over, Michael Bay when Mark Wahlberg pops a Bud Light and drinks it in front of them. I'm like, oh my, there's a happy medium somewhere in here, people. But when people are like, can I get a beer? And I'm looking at them with, the last place I had about 25 taps. I look at the taps and then I look at them and I'm like, go on.
I have beers.
Yeah. Yes. But no, I think it's give and take, where you do sometimes have less patience with people that don't know what they want. But also, when it comes to stuff like streaming, I'm used to being on for 8 hours and putting on a happy face and, like talking in that higher pitch, like, guys, welcome. And so when it comes to streaming on Twitch, like, I'm sitting down, I can do that forever. Like that's really, really easy to be playing video games, because usually I'm serving 6 people at a time, making complicated cocktails and ringing people up and hearing to them complain about their day and stuff. So when it comes to that, streaming is real easy.
Wow. All right, you got into SCN, like you said. Christian gave you the shot at SCN. So what was the transition of you working at SCN and then getting into that first Showdown match? Like, when did Christian come to you and say, all right, let me give you a shot at a match? Or was it, like, how did that go down?
Well, I asked him that summer. Like, I was always afraid, like, to ask him, but I was approached him like, hey, Christian, like, I don't know what this season is looking like at all, but if there's like a play-in game or something like that, like, I just know I'm interested in playing. And it's like, what you want to do? You want to go through the fan leagues? I was like, okay, cool. Like, I did, my friend Ashley, the movie Oracle, I did her little movie trivia thing And I think I'm like 7 or 8-0 in that. And then, but I was planning on going to the fan leagues. And then once SEN started and I was working 2 bartending jobs, I just didn't have time. And so when he announced that I was going to be available for the draft, I was like, all right, awesome. Like, I'm so glad just to get that opportunity. And then when Kate drafted me, like, I was still surprised. Like, trust me, at the Comedy Store, as those rounds kept going on, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't get drafted, I'm going to get the biggest pile of shit on Monday on the show. Oh my God. Like, I was just like, I felt like I was like Brady Quinn, like in that green room, just checking my phone, waiting for that call. And then when it came, and I knew, and that's the thing, like after that, I knew if I lost to RB3, because it was always going to be the match, you know, we talked about it on the show and stuff. So I always knew it was going to be RB3. So, and just especially to open the studio matches, like I was the second match of the year. Like, so that was a huge honor. That literally I think the weekend before was New York, which was a crazy good match. Or I guess third, because, you know, we had 2 matches in New York. And so to open the studio matches was a huge honor, and I knew I had to perform. And when both me and RB3 go perfect, I was like, damn it, RB3, you're supposed to like not be good at this. Like, it's supposed to be easy. But, you know, at the same time, getting that perfect round, because, you know, you play from home and, you know, you can read the question and you're like, oh, I can do this all day. And but then, you know, you get on those stage lights and you get in front of like people that have been doing this for a while. You're reading in front of Mark Ellis and Ken Knapsack, someone you've been watching on your computer for 5-6 years. It's a lot. And you're on that stage where you've been watching it, like, oh my gosh, like I took so many pictures that day. I took so many pictures because like it was something. It was a huge accomplishment for me. And just getting that win, it was such a relief. And ever since then, you know, I don't take anything for granted about, you know, being able to play in this league that so many people want to play in. So I'm really excited for next season, and I'm excited for what's to come for sure.
So before we start talking about next season, with this season, early on with what's been going on in the Showdown, you've been completely in the talks. It's undeniable in the talks that you're in the ranking for Rookie of the Year for this season, for sure. Did that come into, like, what's that pressure that you feel going in, watching the rest of, knowing that you can't necessarily do things the same way that the Showdown has been done in years prior? This is a very weird thing, but I personally feel like you are still in contention for Rookie of the Year.
No, I don't think anyone is after what happened, honestly.
But
the win will be the nomination.
There's still nominations.
I'm okay with being
nominations.
Yeah. Right. As they say, it's an honor just to be nominated, because that's all it's going to be. Let's be honest.
But I think here's the thing about Showdown fans and what I believe, like from what I've seen from Showdown fans throughout the year, most people recognize that some people have a good start of the year and a good end of the year. And those are 2 different rookies that are inside of those specific things. I mean, look, my dude, love you 100%. Love your memes, all of that stuff. You and I keep talking to each other inside of whatever. Doesn't matter. Adam Collins is kind of in there for Rookie of the Year because what he's done inside of the rest of these tournaments. But I think it's still undeniable that you have a spot. You still deserve to be nominated.
Well, my question actually back from that, let me interject real quick. Is like,
thank you, Paul.
Because you had the singles tournament and the teams tournament, and do you regret not getting involved a bunch more? Because I think obviously it was a first part of the year versus the recency bias of the last part of the year. Almost always is, as far as the awards go, that's almost always recency bias towards the end of the year. Do you have any regrets not pushing for more matches?
I don't know about regrets. I definitely have a lot of FOMO for sure. Like, you know, I'm not going to say that you know, we talked about this a little bit on SCN and backstage with me and Bateman, to where, you know, you heard Frank and Brad be like, oh, it's a big mistake, you know, for Ben not to enter the singles tournament. And it might have been. It really might have been. But you see when Paul Preston, one of the most highly anticipated singles players, gets TKO'd. Tom played really well, but I don't know what my seeding would have been in the tournament. I don't know if I would have gone up against, maybe I would have taken Rachel's spot for Liz. I don't think I would have been a play-in game like James White.
Right.
But
No.
there was no gimme games in this tournament whatsoever. So yeah, of course I'd love to play. Like I told Kate that I was like, hey, you know, I know we got James in the trade, so he's got to play. Like we've got to show him out. Otherwise, like we wasted a trade, and we could have picked up some extra points with Brandon in the Inner Geekdom tournament. So I wanted James to play, and I did want. We both wanted female representation in the tournament from the Den, like we did.
Right.
And Rachel is one of the hungriest players. Like things haven't fallen her way when it comes to singles, but she loves this game just as much as anybody. But I told her, I was like, if anybody doesn't want to play, like, absolutely, I'm ready. Absolutely, I'm ready. And it was the same for the teams tournament. Like, we talked about it, whether it was going to be Tom and Paul or me and Rachel again, or if we were going to mix things up. But we decided to go with Tom and Paul because, you know, their loss was at the hands of Deep 13, who had to tie the team's record to beat them. Yeah. So it wasn't, you know, some embarrassing TKO or something. So we want to give our A team a chance because they played one game this year. But yeah, of course, like I don't, again, like regret isn't the right word, but yeah, it sucks that this happened because we had some plans of like who I was going to play next in singles, like in a regular year. And I was for sure going to make a run at, like, I was feeling at least like the people that I was going to play, I knew I could compete with. And I said it from the beginning, when I said I wanted to play Robert Parker, I'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere. And people that take that as disrespect just haven't played sports before, because if you enter a ring, field, ice rink, whatever you play on, and you think for a second that you're going to lose this the game, match, whatever you're playing, then you're going to lose. You have to have the confidence in yourself that you're going to win and that you can compete with anybody on any given schmo day, as what they say. And I have that confidence. Has the wheel gone against me a few times? Absolutely it has. Have I gotten questions that I just didn't flat out know? Or, you know, when I got Star Wars, I was confident in Star Wars. I really was. I had just watched all the movies. I had studied, and it was just questions that just were in my blind spots, and that it just happens. Because literally the week before my match premiered, I watched Paul Oyama and Chance's match, and I can't remember which one of them got Star Wars, but I went 4 out of 5 on their Star Wars questions, and I was like, by that time, my match had already been filmed, and I was like, damn it. Like, I was watching it on my Twitch channel, and I couldn't say anything because my match hadn't premiered, and I was like, man, these are good Star Wars questions. Oh, God, I hope I get something like this.
These are good questions. Who knows how these questions will play out in the future? These are great questions.
And I think that should be, honestly, a Showdown shirt is like, I knew their 5-pointer, because that's literally what it is. You always know your opponent's 5-pointer, and then you get the most obscure question that is like a movie you've never heard of in a decade you are blind spotted in. So that's just the game. There's only so much you can prepare for, but I'm excited. I want to get back in the ring. I want to play. And honestly, a lot of the studying I've done was just off the top of my head. So if you want me to go full Ben Bateman on something, then I probably could. And, you know, like Ben says, like, I'm not going to say in 60 days I can be ready for a Star Wars championship. Because that's the most asinine thing I've ever heard, baby. And I love you.
I know Ben Bateman, the Star Wars base. He has no chance in hell of doing that. Okay? I know that for sure.
Look, this is an Action Army podcast, and none of us have that much confidence in Ben. Love you, bud. Sorry.
As far as that goes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
oh my gosh.
It's been cool. This has been such a different year in the league, with the factions and everything else, all the managers, and you work with Kate obviously all year. Having seen the year go down as it has, if you had to have been with another manager, you had to take Kate aside. You have loyalty to Kate and everything else. I get that. Putting it aside, is there any other manager out there that you watch that you're like, oh, that'd be kind of a cool person to work with? I think I could work well with that manager.
It's okay. No one watches the show. We have 0 views. Speak your mind.
It's hard not to say Winston or Coy with how they, especially Coy, with how he's turned around the Corky Mercs in the second half of this season, what he's done with Shazam. But, you know, you see Winston with Liz Shannon Miller, and you can tell you can tell they got more comfortable as the tournament went along, because I don't want to speak for anybody, but just like Liz is so calm. She's very Ethan Irwin-esque, just here to answer some questions. But like as they got playing like deeper and deeper into this tournament, you could tell that that Winston hype got infected in her, and she started to like get like excited about things like, and oh my gosh, I am really playing well. I am beating these Titans, like beating Chance, beating Bibbs. It was awesome to see them really grow together, and Winston adjust his play style. That, you know, there wasn't this blanket strategy that these managers put forth for everyone. And so it's really hard not to say those two, because they've adjusted so well, because Winston and Coy are so energetic and so charismatic that you think that would only work for in studio, but they adjusted and they worked with online and they really put in the work, and I love it.
I like that. That's a good answer. So Winston and Coy, if you're watching, you may have a chance to try to steal somebody.
They're gonna Winston. They're not thinking about stealing anybody. They're worried about the 3 they're gonna pick, because they've got some tough decisions in the off season of the 3 they're gonna keep, and then the people that they're gonna let try and get to the draft.
Yeah, I think that's actually true of a lot of managers. It's going to be interesting to see who the keepers are, who's going to be left for the draft at that point, because then you have free agency, and people like Bateman has already said he's not going to be with Gucci next year, so that's someone. Somebody might drop somebody to sign him before the draft, so to speak. So that's an interesting side angle to that. But another question I had now: you've had since you become a player and you started building up a brand for yourself. Let's see, as part of the Action Army here has been a big part of the Showdown history as far as a fan base community. You kind of developed your own with the Brigade, and that's really the second kind of fan system since that really kind of formed in a way. I mean, you had the Outlaw Nation, they had stuff, but this was all one that was really loud and proud and out there. And you guys are out like loud, out and loud, proud, and like just reminds me of a little bit like I always feel like the Brigade is like the Action Army's younger brothers or something like that effect. Young brothers and sisters in a way. How was that going to be like? Did you see how it developed, and like what are your thoughts on that? Is that like something that's really flattering, and like what do you think?
It just kind of happened, honestly. Like I never, I would stream, back like in 2015, 2016, just because I really liked gaming. And so I was like, like I've got a tiny bit of a following now that I'm on SEN and stuff. Let's get Twitch back going, maybe make some extra money from it. And then when that whole thing happened, it just kind of came together, and these people are amazing. And like, I honestly don't know what I've done. Like, there's definitely been some ups and downs with that, and some like mistakes and stuff, but like having them have my back with everything like that, and the support they've given me, especially when it comes to fundraisers. Like we did our Black Lives Matter and a stream that, was ridiculous. And I had no idea that was going to happen. And then like history basically repeated when we did our Smash Cancer, fundraiser, and so many people came out, and I'm just very lucky and very fortunate to have these people behind me. But yeah,
I like that. Yeah, it is a great community, and we have some crossover there for sure. And Lucas for sure.
Yeah, and there's plenty of members in the Brigade that are also in the Action Army. Brandy, Lucas, Lucas, yep.
So it's a good community. It's definitely a good community. I like the crossover there as well. Another thing now with SEN is obviously the newest development for you in SEN is now you are no longer reading the questions. You are actually a panelist now.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Congratulations. And what do you think of that transition?
It's different for sure. Like, any promotion is obviously a good promotion, but it was weird last week. Like I was trying to think outside of the Brett and Christian, ridiculousness that happened for those first few months of COVID. Right. I can't remember a SCN that I voluntarily missed, maybe some scheduling or something like that, but just, it was like the first time where, even, when Brett and Christian were doing their, flirt and flouse and all that crazy shaving their head and everything like that, I was still at home doing timestamps and moderating and stuff like that. So it was really the first time that I hadn't been part of an SEN, like in any form. So it was strange, but I'm looking forward to like coming in and being a panelist and seeing what happens with that. And Alex does a great job at what Alex is, he was part of Collider Live doing that for so long. And I love Alex Marzonia to death. He's one of the nicest guys ever and became one of my first friends, because I don't know if you guys have ever been to the studio, the Collider studio. It's a big place. The Collider studio is like a big kind of warehouse looking place. And so when you walk in and in between matches, like everyone kind of breaks off into their own cliques, like talking about the match, talking about this, talking about that. And so when you don't know anybody, you're kind of just like, okay, I'm just going to stand over here and hang out. And Alex Marzonia and Nerd Chronic, honestly, Eric were one of the first people to really like kind of reach out and be like, hey, come talk to us. You don't have to stand over there. I was like, oh, thank God. So they're such good people. And that's the thing, is that this community is just everyone you meet. When you live in LA, you don't think these people exist. And so having them all in the same place is like, where have you been my 9 years in Los Angeles? Could have really used you at some low points, but I'm so glad to have them. And so, but yeah, Alex is going to kill it. I'm excited to, of course, like I'd love to be on SCN every day. Like, I'm going to miss, certain people. Like I'm going to miss doing the show with Roxy if I'm not on Tuesdays. I'm going to miss doing it with Winston and Brett and Kate if I don't see them every day. It's definitely going to be an adjustment, but it's a weird promotion where, of course, I'm going to miss being on the show every day, but I know it's for something good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird thing that like, it's nice not having to read like Mr. Anus 69 loves to say like, yeah, it's going to be great not reading those anymore. But it was fun. It was fun being on the show every day. It was fun like hanging out and like because it was weird when I was moving Dan and Mara to Arkansas.
Yeah.
I was still getting tagged in like the Matt Link clip outs, and I was like, I wasn't there for this. Like, I missed RB3 singing WAP. I missed it. I missed that episode, and I was like, oh my God, I've been off the show for one day, and I missed one of the greatest SEN moments. So it's definitely going to be an adjustment, but I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited to see where the show goes. We branched off into the IG show, and I've listened to a lot of the one-on-ones and all my movies. And if you guys haven't listened to those, like there's such good interviews. And I was, driving home from LA, I listened to the Inglourious Bastards, all my movie. And Sam has some of the coolest behind the scenes stories about making Inglourious Bastards. Like I'm telling you guys, you have to listen to these episodes. So we have such a good lineup on SCN, and anytime I can be a part of that, I'm more than happy to.
And you don't even mention coming up next to what I'm involved with. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it.
There's a reason for that, Paul.
Look at that,
There's a
look
reason
at
for
that.
that.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's Brad. It's not you. It's Brad.
Right. Honestly, I hate at this point to give more attention to my favorite co-host, Paul Denuzio. But you know what? We'll go ahead and transition this over, my sweet Ben, my sweet Paul, into
this or that. If you are if you are new to the show, in the chat, this is where I will be giving Ben.
Hi, welcome, like, comment, subscribe.
That too. Option A and option B, and Ben gets to choose between them. Now he can talk about it as much as he'd like. He can explain himself. He can say he doesn't need to explain himself, and that's just how it is. Some of them are written for him. Some of them are our weekly kind of things that we do, our typical ones. Without further ado, of course, chat. Throw them in there, Streamlabs, Super Chat. Throw them in there, and you can ask your own this or that and see what he has to say for himself. Let's make him sweat a little bit, maybe. But without further ado, the first question we always ask, as a member of the Action Army and a Team Action, original Action Army member podcast, are you Team Guy?
Team Guy. It's like it. I love Ben Bateman. He like both those guys. Like I've been, and when I say I've been lucky, that literally Roxy had me on her show, and they got me over 1,000 subs and got my YouTube channel monetized. And then Ben and Guy had me on it. One of the last in studio or in Ben's apartment action guys, and helped my Patreon grow so much. But they're both so nice, but strictly Showdown character stuff, you can't beat Guy. You can't beat him. Like it's Roka is absolutely up there, and he literally started this stuff before people were ready for it. He was doing it. But man, like, oh God, when Guy is on that level 11, it's hard to beat him.
True, and that is a good answer. We can continue unscathed at this point. I'm glad you answered correctly. We do have an eject button we have to push if you say team trailer, but it's all right.
We're playing Among Us. I'm used to being ejected unjustifiably.
If you would have answered the trailer, we would have been super sus.
That was the day he joined the Brigade Patreon. Good to know, JJ. Good to know,
a lot of people joined. I was very, very grateful, and I still owe you guys a general's chill session with me in a grass skirt.
I haven't forgotten. I'm still working with Ben.
No, trust me. POD, it was in the back of my car for at least a month because I was ready and waiting to make that drive. I was ready and waiting.
Blame PLD. Hashtag blame PLD. Hashtag blame PLD.
As soon as we get in the studio, get your home in, we're gonna make it happen for damn sure. But all right, I got actually one in the chat already, like that Dean Morgan getting rid of one Star Wars movie, Attack of the Clones or Rogue One.
It's gonna be Rogue One, guys.
Wow.
At the very least, Attack of the Clones is fun to watch because it's so bad. Rogue One isn't fun for me. It's just like everything about that movie is just wrong. Nothing about it works. I made a funny video about Attack of the Clones and like why and how Padme and Anakin fall in love because there's nothing. She literally calls him a creep and says, "Stop looking at me like that." And he's like, "But why?" And then the next scene they're making out. I'm like, what is happening? There's nothing. Who was editing this movie
George
that they
Lucas.
left out?
George Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas Films. Men. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
We got to rant about this, but we won't.
All right. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. Move on. Singles or teams? Now that you've done both.
Teams. Honestly, if there was I want to play singles for sure, but out of the 3 divisions that I'm playing in, singles would be the first to drop. You guys don't know how excited I am to get back into the Inner Geekdom ring, and I know how detailed these questions are getting. I know, but you know what? I've never missed an Inner Geekdom 5-pointer. Only had one, but I got it. But no, I'm excited. But yeah, if I had to choose a league to drop, it would be singles or division to drop. It would be singles.
So yeah, just speaking of that, and real quick, I'll throw in a little bonus question there. With Inner Geekdom, a lot of people say you have to concentrate on that specifically. So would you decide not to do teams either and just concentrate on Inner Geekdom for a while, or are you going to try to do both, you think?
I think I'm going to try and do both because especially now, I feel like now that finally, with all the complaining and the ridiculousness that you couldn't put an Inner Geekdom slice on the wheel, which was, don't even get me started on that. Now the Inner Geekdom slices are going to be on the wheel. I feel like you're going to see, I think you're going to see Sean Drew possibly going to teams. You're going to see Alex Damon possibly going to teams. Brandon Hanna going to possibly teams. He's playing teams right now, actually.
On Monday.
So you're going to see a lot of these strong Inner Geekdom players go into teams because you can get through round 1 with 6 or 7 points with general movie knowledge. There might be a curveball in there or two, Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights, but you're gonna get some good points. And then if you spin that wheel and you get something, there was an Inner Geekdom general movie when Corruption was playing The Family in the last studio match, and they got who directed Batman v Superman for a DC question. I was like, bruh, it's not on the question writers, but if you're gonna get those surface level, not too deep cut Inner Geekdom questions in a teams match, you're gonna get 12 points.
Yeah.
And then if your Inner Geekdom player wants to take the 2-pointer every time, it's gonna be easier. So
yeah.
There's definitely going to be a lot more Inner Geekdom players playing teams, and so I think you'll always be able to play in these matches and compete. Sometimes the wheel might not go in your favor, but we've seen that with 2 singles players that have never touched Inner Geekdom. They get movie release dates or classics or something like that. They're going to go 0 for 0.
Right. All right, it's good call. I like that. I like that where your mind's in on that, and I'm actually very excited about next year for that exact reason.
Yeah, I have a question that's not this or that, so I'll wait until after.
Okay, all right. Do you have one in there? Actually, Malcolm put it in the chat, and as well as I had it anyway. Imposter or a crew member?
I gotta go imposter. It definitely comes with added pressure because you get it once every 10 games or something. So your lying skills, like you take a deep breath when you see that screen come on, you take a deep breath and you're like, let's go.
Okay, Ben, do you wait to kill people, or this might be way too much into the game, but like, do you wait to kill people, or do you instantly kill people as soon as you get the chance?
It depends.
I'm
really depends. See, that's the thing is that when that first, you have to kill someone first round. Right. Because if you're playing a 10 people with 2 imposters, if your imposter teammate doesn't kill someone and someone calls a meeting at 9 bodies, someone's going to get voted out. You can shoot on 9 and it could be you. And so you got to turn out those lights and you got to get a kill first round. And then you just got to be like, no, what are you talking about? I wasn't anywhere near there.
Do you advocate for self-claims, like when
self-reporting?
No, I never self-report. Never self-report. And I've gotten we have been a kill away while an emergency is going on, and I've had my imposter teammate report a body, and I'm just like, but then you're in the meeting and your mic is on, so you're like, "Where's the body? Other player?"
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Okay, you got a Texas one. I know you left Texas early, but we'll see anyway. Whataburger or In-N-Out?
It's been a while, but I'm still gonna go Whataburger.
Hey!
Okay. You saved yourself there from Danny's wrath and all the Texans in the chat, their wrath. The Adams brothers. Jake, actually another one who's a big Whataburger person. All right. Other one from the chat looks like here we had, I just saw it when I scrolled back. Where was it? I lost it. It was the exact poll you put up on Twitter. It was there it is. Party J. Into the unknown or let it go?
Into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
Even
the Idina Menzel version is better, but then you add that Panic at the Disco cover. It's not even close. It's not even close.
100%.
Let It Go. Gosh. Let It Go is a bop. No, we will respect Let It Go. Absolutely. But I was not even a big fan. Like, I liked Frozen and I respected it, but man, Frozen 2 got me in so many ways, and I was not expecting it 6 years later for this movie that I'd seen one time to be like, oh my God, what is happening? I'm crying next to a 5-year-old in a theater. What is going on?
Legitimately what happened to me in my own movie theater. So Ben, if there's ever a time where you want to talk to someone else who has a very emotional, visceral response to Disney movies, I'm your girl.
Oh, absolutely. And just and I mean, even as a movie, for a movie, it's not really close for me because you have Into the Unknown, you have Lost in the Woods, you have Show Yourself, and even Olaf's song, This Will All Make Sense. Like when he sang Samantha, that's one of the Olaf is so much funnier in Frozen 2 than he is in Frozen.
All right.
Because of the meta experience, Frozen 2 is so much better than Frozen 1. Sorry.
It is. It really is.
All right. Denis Villeneuve or Christopher Nolan?
Oh, Denis Villeneuve by a long shot.
Long shot. Okay. Good.
I like Christopher Nolan, but to me, he always makes very similar movies. It's something with time. It's a war movie with time. It's a heist movie with time. It's Tenet. I haven't seen it yet, but with time.
It's time.
Memento has to do with going backwards in time, and that's a crazily constructed movie. Denis Villeneuve has made a kidnapping crime thriller. He's made a war on drugs movie. Right. He has. If you haven't seen it, it's a smaller film. It might still be on Amazon Prime. It's a Polytechnique. It's about a mass shooting in Canada, and it's crazy. Let alone Arrival and Blade Runner 2049 and the trailer for Dune. Oh my gosh! Right. I'm glad it got pushed back because I definitely want to see that in theaters, but I'm so sad I don't get to see it next month.
I have a Denis Villeneuve, Stanley Kubrick comparison that I'm not ready to post online right now. Ben, I'll talk to you about it later. But
But yeah, the guy, you can say Christopher Nolan hasn't missed, but there's definitely people that, didn't like Interstellar that much, didn't like Dunkirk that much, didn't like Tenet that much. And the fact that those are his last 3 movies that people are like kind of wavering on, Denis Villeneuve has not missed. Sicario, Prisoners, Enemy, Blade Runner, Polytechnique, and then Incendies, if you haven't seen that one, that movie's amazing as well. So the guy hasn't missed yet. So it's going to take a lot for me to put Christopher Nolan over Denis Villeneuve, who, I mean, he's my favorite working director. So
mine too.
Yeah.
Have that in common. All right.
Yep.
Professor Crow, or is it Flirt and Flow?
I got to go Flirt and Flouse.
Wow, okay.
Only because Professor Crow doesn't have their own T-shirt. They don't have their own song. They're not an international star. They're a star regionally. Like they're great at the county fair. So Flirt and Flouse is playing at Coachella.
You're damn right on that.
Right,
and you know what?
right,
The Flirt and Flouse isn't going to yell at you like Professor Crow will.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Crow is going to be my indie record, and the Flirt and Flouse is going to be like my semi-indie record that some people know about, but just want to claim that they're indie about it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got a few more.
Professor Crow all the way is my opinion.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Crow.
Fair.
Give me more Crow.
Here, let me turn on this light real quick. 1 second, guys.
Let's get those lampshades.
I guess it burned out. Okay.
No, who cares? No one cares. You're fine. Your light is fine.
Okay, cool.
All good.
You look good.
And all right, how about whiskey or tequila?
Tequila. I love a good Irish coffee, but I'm a tequila person. I've grown to like whiskey. I like a good old fashioned. Like I said, I like a good whiskey cocktail. I don't like whiskey straight. I can drink tequila straight.
Fair enough. Okay.
I am both in the same sort of boat for it. I'm not opposed. Like, I can drink a Jameson straight. Jameson is fine. I would prefer to take Jameson as a shot. Jameson's not necessarily a bourbon in any sort of way. I like to drink bourbon. I like to shoot whiskey.
Okay.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I did have one more in the chat I wanted to throw before I finished up mine. I can't where it went. I think it was Ben Rayner had said, which one would you rather watch, Rogue One or the worst Harry Potter movie? Whatever one that is to you.
That's tough because I don't like any of the Harry Potter movies either. But I think I would watch Rogue One over Fantastic Beasts 2. I will say that. I think I'd definitely watch Rogue One over Fantastic Beasts 2 for sure. That movie was confusingly bad. I was like, you had it was Fantastic Beasts wasn't great, but you had something, and then you just like went every single wrong turn in the second one.
I agree, man. It's going to get worse, and now the whole thing's all sorts of jumbled. I feel like it can't get any worse, but it will. Yeah. All right, poutine or loaded fries?
Now, what are on the loaded fries? That's make or break for me there.
That's okay. So I feel like this is I'm poutine. I'm team poutine.
So that's
Paul
gravy.
is team loaded fries. So here's the thing about loaded fries versus poutine. It's whatever you want on loaded fries. Whatever you decide your loaded fries is. It's basically compared to the gravy the gravy and cheese that are on poutine. So however you decide your loaded fries are, do you prefer chili over gravy? Is basically I
think I gotta go loaded fries.
Thank you.
Oh, he just went. He went my side.
I did. Fries. He did. As soon as I said bop bop bop, I understood what he was saying. I was like, that's not my team. That's not my team.
One last one I'll throw your way. Ben, this is one specifically for you. Do you prefer War Heels or caca?
War Heels all day. Absolutely. Like caca, man, like that was honestly that day before the match. I was like, it was such a bad day, y'all. And that just like wore on my last nerve.
Right.
But doing doing that promo video, where I was like bird watching was so much fun. Doing the speech of like, I'm not going to chicken out, I'm not going to duck and run. Like that was fun to write up. but We're Heels was such a fun moment. And the fact that it got deleted, only a handful of patrons saw it, because it was like Monday, it came out for the patrons, but then not even like the end of Monday, like it was up for maybe an hour or two, and it got deleted because Christian didn't like it. He didn't like it so much. So like when just all that stuff, like of like the Switchblade and We're Heels, that's Christian's fault. Like I had nothing to do with it. He pulled it, he edited it out. And so I loved it. And it was fun talking about it. And like Jen Sturgis was like, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't care. I loved every moment of it. Like the Butcher Boys were being just as obnoxious. So I'm okay. I was like, We're Heels, baby. Like, it was a fun moment.
The only canon that I know is the We're Heels. I honestly like what you're saying right now about it being removed. I did not know about that because I had the opportunity to watch it.
It's not there anymore. You can't watch it.
I didn't know that.
That's the director's cut.
Like that's the fucking director's cut.
The Heels is part of the Snyder cut.
It's that's what makes
this so going into that. I'm so sorry that we're in this or that, and we're transitioning.
We're ended up with that.
So like for that, like Ben, for you specifically, like having those weird sort of like inside jokes. Not only in SEN, transitioning over into the Showdown and all of that stuff. Like this is such a fun and genuine community that we all get to be part of. Are those specific inside jokes one of like that's my favorite thing about the Showdown? I genuinely enjoy having that type of stuff inside of the Showdown. Like, where do you feel and where do you lie about inside jokes like that, knowing that that shit was cut? Like, how do you feel about all of that?
It's, sometimes I'm like, we shouldn't wear out an inside joke because it is an inside joke. But when it comes to stuff like that, where like a handful of people saw it, and that's the thing is that Christian is so good at announcing. He's got the perfect announcer voice. So when he was talking about the Switchblade, and he was like, oh, Rachel Silvestrini, the Switchblade. I'm like, Christian, you sound really good saying this. So that's why people like the Switchblade, and that's why the Switchblade came to pass. And so when he was doing all the We're Heels stuff, like I loved every second of it. It was so funny to me because, again, that was my second week. That was my second match. We filmed that. Like that thing came out so late. We filmed that the second week we were in studio. And so when I heard, like when I saw what was going down, and like the reaction, I was like, wow, this is surprising because I was laughing the entire time. I had a huge because I think Smets came in and even like whispered like a joke to me because, they're part of the dungeon. So he whispered a joke to me and I was smiling and laughing. And then like me and Vinny were like talking smack to each other and laughing. And then I said, We're Heels. And I was laughing the whole time. And so like when everyone's like, oh, this is ridiculous. I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't watch wrestling. Is this good or bad?
I love it, man. I love it. All right. It is time now to bring on our lovely Miss Kelsey. How are you doing, girl?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Always lovely to see you back on screen with us. It is time, chat, to start getting your questions in. We're going to do a little bit of promoting for the channel this week. While you do that, give you a second to do that. Of course, streamlabs.com/call-to-action podcast will always get you more priority. But you have as many questions you can. We'll get in as many questions as we can get. I can speak English sometimes. We'll get in as many questions as we can before we wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so. But this week on Call to Action is kind of a special week. We'll probably do we don't have them mapped out yet, but we'll do some reactions, and we always do some breakdowns of the matches that get released. This week, of course, Category 9 versus Odd Couple. And of course, the end, Tom and Paul versus the Final Exam. We'll probably not be doing Call Live though this week, or Chilled Action. Well, really doing Chilled Action this week because next week. That's right. Next week is what we talked about earlier at one point is the Smash-a-thon, November 14th through 15th, starting at 3 p.m. on a separate YouTube channel. I will get you that link when we do it. It's everybody. It's Call to Action. It's a POV. It's the Cinefanatics. It's Let's Get Ready to Showdown, the Ultimate Showdown, Spoilers from the North. It's all this. We're going to sprinkle in a lot of the SD personalities as well. John Roca, Ben Goddard, maybe potentially. We're still crossing our T's and dotting
There's
our
a
I's.
lot of stuff going on. There is a lot of stuff going on during that weekend. So again,
and, we'll have special schmobates during that stream. We're gonna have a special chill during that stream. We're gonna have a special, all sorts of different things and lots of fun overnights. It's gonna be 25 hours. I'm planning to be up for all of it. So wish me luck. That's basically call to action rather this week. Anything else you want to throw in there, Kelsey or Danny? Anything else we need to talk about that I forgot?
I mean, I just have a super chat that I want to talk about.
All right, we'll put it in there then.
All right, so this is from the super chat is from our own C2A member, Danny Coase. Panic at the Disco, New Perspective, or Fall Out Boy, Mortos, or better emo movie song. What is your pick for that, Ben? Because
out of those two bands, that's tough. Because I always respected what Panic at the Disco did because their first album is like a cover to cover perfect album, and then they go completely experimental in their next album when they could have just like gone the Nickelback route and just like, hey, this is what they want to see, we'll give them this. Like they've always been a very experimental band. Fall Out Boy, on the other hand, like their first 3 albums were great and almost perfect. So I think just as an edge, I think I'll go Fall Out Boy. But I mean, Panic at the Disco they're still around, they're still relevant, they're still killing it. So I mean, that's a 51-49 for me. And the fact that Panic at the Disco is still on Fueled by Ramen, their independent label, says a lot about how good of people they are. So it's really cool to see.
I feel like it's a good example of cannibalism, sticking with your brand and all that good stuff. So Brandon Urie being on Taylor Swift's song is a big thing for Panic at the Disco, all that good stuff. Wow.
All right, Kelsey, what else we got, Kels?
All right, we do have another super chat that came in from Brandon Buckingham. Who's the worst NBA champions and why is it the 98-99 Spurs?
Brandon's just extra salty because his Cardinals lost to the Dolphins today.
Ouch. Poor
and you can say whatever you want about the Cowboys. I know we suck this year. I'm over it. We weren't supposed to even beat the Steelers. They were undefeated. I'm okay with losing.
I don't give a fuck about what anyone says about the Cowboys. I genuinely care about what people feel about the Spurs. So
Buckingham is also salty, by the way.
It's tough that this is the first year we haven't made the playoffs in 20 years. So don't come for the best franchise in sports.
Don't come at the best franchise in sports. Don't come at the Spurs like that. Thank you very much, because it is what it is. And honestly, like, I get it. Like, Texas is where it is when it comes to sports, but don't come at me. Don't come at anyone who is involved in Texas sports and try to talk shit about the Spurs. You can talk any shit that you want about the Cowboys, anything that you want about any other sport in Texas. Don't come at call to action in Spurs shit. I'm just letting you all know ahead of time. Just
fair enough.
Regardless of Ben is here, this is the first time we've had some Spurs slander in this chat, and I'm not here for it. Okay?
All right, enough, Daddy. Enough with your ranting. Let's get Kelsey. Okay. What's next?
Yep, we have a few more we need to get to real quick from Party J. Why do you hate sushi so much?
Why do you hate sushi so much?
It's overrated. It's overpriced. It's not that good. It's like avocados, like how avocados work. It's like a lifestyle. No, it's raw fish wrapped in seaweed.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask to take your California Texan ass out of this conversation.
Actually, I'm agreeing with you. I don't like sushi at all. That's overrated. Yuck. Get out of here.
You're fucking in New York. Get out.
Is what it is, my friend. Is what it is. All right, Kels, next.
All right, another one from Austin says, "Hi, Brett. Oh wait, wrong show. I saw Ben and forgot what it was."
Fair enough. Well played. Well played.
All right.
Well played.
And then we have a Streamlabs that came in from JJ Winward. It says, "Real talk, I miss DJ Jelly's Bad. What's your favorite Taylor Swift song? Hashtag slap the carp."
Slap the carp.
Slap the carp, baby. It's gotta be. I think it's Trouble. Like Trouble, when that song came out, man, like when that beat breaks down, it's so good. But I've turned into such a Taylor Swift fan with like just like her activism and like who she is as a person. Like when she like told Apple Music, like, no, you're not going to get my music for free for 3 months. You're Apple.
Spotify.
You don't need 3 free months. Sorry. Like that's not. It's like, no, I'm good, fam. And I like that. That was pretty great. I'm trying to think of other Taylor Swift songs. I haven't. I liked her video for "Look What You Made Me Do." That was a great video.
Did you watch the documentary on Netflix about T Swift?
Is it good?
It's pretty good. It goes through the 2016 election, pretty much.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see because T Swift was not political in anything that she said up until 2016, basically. Very specific point in time, and that's kind of, it's not prevalent in the doc at all. Like that's not the main focus of the doc, but like it does have a good hour set to it.
Yeah.
Compared to like the 5 shows that she put on there, so it's good. Miss Americana is a great documentary for anyone who didn't listen to Taylor Swift growing up and who did listen to T Swift growing up. It's a great doc overall, I think, especially like where I feel in political views. So whatever, it's fine.
I got time for one more question there.
Okay, to wrap it up, I think I will go with this one from Malcolm. It says, what advice would you give people who want to grow their Twitch/YouTube channels more?
Ooh.
It's tough. You really have to come at it uniquely with whatever content you're putting out there. And especially, it's tough because like I'm decent at video games, but I'm not good enough to grow from gaming alone. Cause like I watch plenty of people that are just good at games because they're good at gaming and like you want to watch someone be good at something, but then you also watch people for personalities. And so you have to figure out like, am I going at this to play, whatever game I'm doing because I'm that good at it? Or am I gonna, with now, especially with Twitch, like you don't have to game. You can cook, you can do exercise, you can do chats, like you can do so much on Twitch that you need to find your niche and do it. And whatever that is, like if you're passionate about it, like people will come, and maybe it won't be your full-time job, but it will be something you can either make money off of or be your creative outlet. And that's what's more important, honestly.
Definitely. All right. Well, that is going to be the end of our show tonight. Ben, where can the folks find you? I don't know. Jake put them up there in the chat as well.
Yeah, Jake's been putting them in the chat. Twitch.tv/The Goddard. I'm streaming like quite a few nights now. Patreon.com/The Goddard. I'm making a lot of changes. I'm really excited of what I'm doing over there. YouTube, we're going to be doing cocktails and casting tomorrow with me and Sabrina. We didn't do nearly enough scary movies in Halloween, and October was literally 3 days long. So we're going to be doing Sleepy Hollow tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that. And I'll try and be there next Saturday. I'm still working out my schedule, but make sure you guys show up for the Smash-a-thon. I'm really, really excited to be there.
It's be good.
Kelsey.
All right, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I also have my cosplay page, which is Miss Quinkins. So if that's your thing, check it out. TeePublic, we've got merch. Get your Chilled Action shirt there. Get your mask. Wear a mask. And yeah, you'll see me here every week on Live and Chill, except for next week. You'll see me at the Smash-a-thon.
Bingo. Me at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. You can find me weekends with the Action Industries. I produce and usually hop on for Ben and Drew's shows. Got a lot of new content coming out with them. Different shows every Saturday now. I'll announce those later on. Those are exciting. Also, PLD Projects, my own YouTube channel. I'll be doing some, generally speaking, tier rankings. Maybe one tonight, depending on how late I go with some other things I have to do tonight. And of course, I'm coming up next, producing for Brad and Jen. It's a good time. Hop in on there, and also this every week with this one over here. I did do my head. I always do that wrong. This one over here. And Danny, how you doing? Where can the folks find you, Danny?
That's right. You can find me on Twitter at DannyJoy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me here every Sunday, hanging out with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denuzio, on Chill the Action. Also, for anyone who is concerned about this political climate and all that good stuff, I am a member of the DSA. If you have any questions about the DSA, please come to me for all of that good, great stuff. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. C2A2K, all that good stuff. Please comment on this video. If you have any other questions for Ben Goddard, put them in the comments. We will get them out to him. We will make sure that all of that good stuff is in there. And you'll get your answers to your questions, all of that. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can find out everything that we're in for this. Make sure that you are looking out on all of our socials for the Smashathon. Thank you. Thank you so much. I was waiting for that. For the Smashathon coming up this 14th through 15th of November, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So according to everyone else, that's going to be a 24-hour stream. We cannot wait for every single one of us to be a part of this. Very much in support of our very good friend Kevin Smaz, who is dealing with colon cancer. Get yourself checked out, males,
Definitely.
females.
Yes.
Before you're 40, get yourself checked out. That's
All
it.
right, guys. As always, we salute you.
Love you so much.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.